I always like to get the drum roll in there.
Woo! Right? Yeah. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Going Over. I am your neighborhood friendly coach, your neighborhood friendly trainer, promoter, 43-year-old, damn it, still pro wrestler. The sty is still in the damn eye. I'm joined alongside my podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. And Paul, today, this one, we had AJ on last time, and this one hits here because this, we know him as the Cannibal. I know him as a man I've spent many hours on the road with, and we probably got some good road stories. But Drake, you were talking about 2 hours, and we're always gonna keep them wanting more. So when this thing hits 55 minutes, we're gonna do a wrap up, man, because we only do an hour here, because you're not just gonna be on here now. You're gonna be a vital part of everything we're gonna do. You're gonna be coming on and talking about topics, man. And I don't want to waste any more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Cannibal. It's the man behind the camera, NorCal Wrestling. If you ever wondered what and why did we produce shows? Why did they come on YouTube? What happened on MySpace? What happened to Facebook? If you're wondering, it was Tom Bocci, and it was that man right there, the Cannibal Drake Nelson, with the territory. That's enough penis licking for right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going over. Welcome to one of my great friends, Drake Nelson.
Wow, what a fantastic intro, man. You really touched on a lot, and it really meant a lot to me, bro. Thank you so much. Yeah, this has been a pleasure. When I saw you guys were teaming up, I was so excited because I've known both you guys for a long time and have nothing but respect for both of you on a personal level and a professional level. I think you guys are both like some really close friends, and excited to be here, man. I took the appropriate amount of marijuana right before going into the shower, because that's where I'm at in my life. I smoke pot before I get in the shower because showering is an adventure. So yeah, man. Thank you guys so much.
Hell yeah, man. So yeah, man, we had this, I talked about with AJ, man, we had a laundry list of guys, man, that we wanted to talk to, and people that we thought had a really good take on different parts of the professional wrestling business that we hold so near and dear to our heart. And man, I just remember coming across you and Tom when you guys were doing the territory, man, and it was like this it was a different spin on pro wrestling, right? You guys were going to set up the cameras in some different places, different camera angles. There was going to be, close shots. There was going to be far away shots. There was going to be sideways shots. Oh, yeah. Man, it was just so exciting to watch it. And obviously, we're all marks for our own selves. We like to watch our own videos. So it was always cool to see the spin that you guys would put on what we were trying to accomplish in the wrestling ring. And obviously, we've spent, just like Zach said, we've spent hours and hours and hours in the car, whether it's going to Knox Pro and you being our mouthpiece, or, needing a ride from Elko, Nevada, because your car broke down, and, being the guy you called, expecting me to tell you to go fuck yourself. And then I just remember the next time seeing you, you go, you didn't even hesitate, man. You said, I'll be there in 4 hours. I'll see you then. And hung up the phone. And next thing you know, I'm on my way. But, man, we feel like you have a unique spin on and unique perspective on production of professional wrestling. So tell us a little bit about like the way that you look at pro wrestling. Maybe it's different from the rest of people, the way that they look at it. Because obviously you guys were able to kind of put a completely different spin on watching pro wrestling, right? It wasn't going to be just that regular stuff that you would see every week on TV. You guys had just a different perspective. So talk about how you guys kind of came to that, the way that you were going to film wrestling, the way that you were going to present it, and just kind of the way that you wanted people to see your vision.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, what a great setup, bro. You just covered about 25 years of some highs and lows along the way. So that's a great question. So I want to start by saying, like, I owe a lot of the creativity to Tom Bocci, you know. He definitely had like a visionary way of looking at it. He came from like a musical background, a punk rock background, was also trained in the business. He trained under Jason Styles and BTW for 6-7 months. And then I trained with Zach for about a year. So we both knew a lot about the business, and we're both classically trained film producers. You know, the film program at Butte College was essentially a film school. You know what I mean? And they had a great live production part of the video production course. So they would bring their students out to film football games and basketball games and anything that needed like a 3 or 4 camera shoot. Butte College could teach you how to do it like effectively. So we both had like great training as far as film production. And you know, we were both movie buffs. I mean, if you came over, and by the way, I was living with Bocci for a little while. So if you came over to our house, you know, he had the living room and I had the bedroom. It was a 1-bedroom apartment. And you walk in and you see 500 VHS tapes of just whatever. It wasn't like a blockbuster video thing. It was, he was watching all kinds of crazy stuff from all over the world and would really turn me on to a lot of interesting stuff and interesting films and stuff. So it was a great mix of we both had a lot of experience and a love and a passion for filmmaking and pro wrestling. We were both about the same age. And Zach, you're about my age. So I had taken a break from the business basically because I was living in Southern California. So I had already trained with Zach a few years prior when I was about 20, 21, right in there. So I was about 27, I think, when I had linked back up with PCW and stuff. So Zach was in Orville and killing it in the Orville. So by that time, he had moved out of Loma Rica, Marysville area, and was doing shows and crushing it. So now I'm going back to school. I reach out to Zach. I said, "Hey man, I'd love to film one of your shows and see what we can do with it." And I wasn't really even gonna reach out, but Bocci wanted to reach out and attempt it. But I was like, they already have a crew. So that's what Zach said. He was like, yeah, come on out, man. I'm already paying these guys with big fancy cameras and they do a bang up job. You know, I'm not trying to like have 2 production companies or whatever. But I said, we'll just come in and you take a look at what we can do and we'll go from there. So that's what we did. And we had to work around these young guys with big fancy cameras and headphones and shit. And we're just, excuse me, we put our little camcorders up, you know, and because we knew how to wrestle and we knew how to make it entertaining with no budget, we were pretty confident, you know. So we chopped it up and showed it to him, and he just loved it and was like, dude. And then I think he fired those guys after a while. He was like, I'm gonna have Drake and Tom come down with no money. Why pay these guys $1,000 when my friend Drake can fucking chop up some badass shit? So then it snowballed from there. We started doing SPW, and we hooked up with Rick Luxury's company Brawl in the Bay Area, and then we got into this, you know, San Francisco areas and stuff. We were doing stuff with Caesar Black and his promotion for a little bit, and then
Fog City.
Yeah, Fog City, which was some great shows. So yeah, it was just this great combination of everybody kind of being on the same wavelength, and we just absolutely loved it, man. That's kind of a
Absolutely. So
long, drawn out answer. But
no. It's a great answer, and it triggered some questions for me. The one big thing that I always talk to people in production about is understanding, being able to kind of read the situation of what's going to happen next. And so, talk about. I mean, you mentioned a little bit about you guys both trained as pro wrestlers, so you guys had an idea of kind of being able to anticipate what was going to happen next. And as a result, you guys were able to get fantastic vantage points and shots because you were in the right spot because you knew what was coming up next.
we knew
So
where not to hang out either. Like you don't want to sit in the middle of the ropes on the outside either, because
right,
wrestlers are unpredictable. So we would figure out, like, if you stand here and just work within these couple parameters, you're not going to get killed either. You'll see some of these production guys and camera people from certain companies, whatever, they'll jump on the rope or whatever, and they end up getting hurt. But when we were filming, we didn't get hurt because we knew exactly what was coming. We would go to the production meetings, we'd go to the booking meetings, so we would know who's on the card, who was going over, where do we need to be, you know what I mean? How do we shoot that? So yeah, training in the business was such, and being a fan as well, was a huge advantage before even picking up a camera. You know what I mean?
right.
Drake. So one thing I remember, and I want to throw this in real quick because he would kill me. So it's either true or not true. But now our production is done by Doc Haywood, and he said when he came to us, he said when Drake and Tom came in there, he said he was in that same class at Butte College with you guys, and he said you guys actually borrowed his cameras for the very first territory taping at PCW. Is there truth to that?
I don't remember it going down like that, but at the same time, I've been hitting the
God.
head a lot, and I smoke pot, so maybe, but I don't think so.
So I just had to throw that out there because he told me that. So Doc Haywood, I know you're watching. I'll be giving you a couple of wrestling spankings the next time I see you for this defibulous information. But
maybe, but again, like I got kind of a shitty memory, but it's not ringing any bells.
You had mentioned earlier, and I know Tom very well. He put together some amazing cinematic commercials for us. Man, he was very creative with a lot of stuff he did. You guys added something to independent wrestling that nobody had, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Nobody had an original signature video before the presentation of what like WWE had it, of course, right? The big companies had it, but no independent wrestling, small level independent wrestling didn't have the signature video, the custom song that could be used copyright free. They didn't have the way you guys strung it together, the way you guys filmed stuff, the way we'd be watching the territory and we'd go, clunk, clunk, and then it would go to the next thing. You guys even started doing live comment. That wasn't live, but you guys started doing live commentary that you guys would break into the show. So as PCW has moved further along, our production is tits right now. Like we have this amazing production and this amazing crew. And I always go back to it. And I want to give a shout out to Buck James and Doc Haywood. But you guys were kind of the pioneers, man. I remember you guys coming in and I said, go for it. But tell us about, well, Paul was just mentioning, you had the signature video, man. You had all the crazy transitions and everything else. What was your guys' vision of the territory and NorCal Wrestling when you started doing? I know we were the first platform, but what was the vision when you and Tom came into doing all this?
Well, we knew that that there were multiple independent companies, but not everybody gets along all the time. So we knew that like that could kind of create some heat between these individual companies, because if you show favoritism to one group, then it's, it just was a conflict of interest. But like a lot of it was like we had the minds of wrestlers. We were and we're putting ourselves over as well. And we knew that we grew up with guys like Jesse the Body Ventura, Gorilla Monsoon, and Roddy Piper. like these guys had street cred as announcers because they're doing commentary in their wrestling gear. So like you mentioned my ankle video. For those of you that don't know, I got 6 screws in my ankle from an injury that I got in the ring with some jabroni that I was wrestling with who didn't know what the hell he was doing. And but I had that video of my ankle getting destroyed online. So I think that got me a little street cred with some of the boys because like I cut this promo as my ankle's destroyed in a wrestling boot. So the guys always treated me like I was just a wrestler on the outside. So I knew for it to work, like, well, we should treat this like our own gimmick and put ourselves over. We need a company name, you know. So we came up with the territory, and that was my idea. I'll take the credit for that. I was a fan of the territory systems of professional wrestling up until the 90s. So I just liked, you know, that word, and I think Shane Dynasty designed the logo for us. You know what I mean? He's a very artistic guy. So yeah, we came at it like, well, we're in Chico. There's no wrestling company here. If we're gonna go, we got to put ourselves over. We had our own merchandise for a little bit, you know, which was a mix of like how like a production company has a shirt that says film crew or whatever. We wanted it to look like that as well as like promote our brand. You know what I mean? So that's what it was. Is it was we were, you know, like your show. We're putting ourselves over too. So I think that's why it all worked.
So Zach, I'm gonna jump in and ask. I want to ask you a question about things that you learned from Drake, right? Because you know, being at your booking meetings, I know it's not just the wrestling stuff, right? It's not just hey, this match and this match and this match, and these are the finishes. It's also a reminder to the film crew, like, hey, let's make sure we're getting this shot when a guy's coming into the entrance. Let's make sure when there's 2 guys in the ring, we're not filming each other. Things like that. How much of that stuff did you pick up from the knowledge that these guys had when they were filming at your promotion and the things that they would talk about, so you could kind of feed off of that and kind of get, you know, I obviously it was a surprise to me in a booking meeting that you were talking to your production guys about things that they needed to be doing along with the rest of the wrestlers. Like, hey, you know, let's talk to the production guys about what your finish might be, where it's going to happen. If there's any spots that are going to take place on the outside of the ring, let's let them know. Things like that. How much of that stuff did you get from Drake and Tom when they were doing all this stuff with the territory?
Well, first off, I just wanted to say a lot of the production stuff, I keep having to tell the camera guys, don't stand directly across from each other, because then you're just filming each other. We can see you in every shot. And then there's the hard cam. So if the guy's getting in the ring, whether it's a promo or something, to film the wrestler in the ring to his face, if it, in post-production, if the editor of the show uses the hard cam for the shot, then we see the fucking camera guy in the ring right in front of the wrestler. So a few of those things. But one thing was I really, Tom was harder to get a hold of. Like me and Tom, we were cool and we talked to each other, but he was harder to get a hold of for me, especially at the end. And me and Drake have always just been thick as thieves, man. Always talked on the phone. We still talk to this day. Always on the road riding around. There was a point he lived at Rick Luxury's house, and every weekend I would live at Rick Luxury's house, and me and Drake spent so much time. So a lot of what we did, I spent a lot of time on the phone with Drake, and I spent a lot of time in person throwing him back with Drake, having a great time. And we would talk about the booking, and Drake would give me ideas about the booking, and he'd hear where I was going with things. So when it came down to it, a lot of what was going on back in the day and a lot of what I learned by sitting with Drake for hours, watching wrestling, talking wrestling. And I'd say, hey, I want to do this heel turn or this angle, or we would be building something up. And Drake would be like, oh, if we filmed it this way That way we can wait till later. Drake was always pointing out, well, I want to get this shot of this guy's reaction because it's gonna on next week's episode. If we get his reaction to something that was said in an interview. I remember one time that really stuck out was we were doing this promo for a Survivor Series style match, and on one team it was me, Scotty Aboot, James Haight, and Rick Luxury was the champion. And Drake just, we're doing the promo, and he tells Rick Luxury, because I'm just talking. He's like, Zach, I want you to talk just over the champ so much. And he's like, and then Rick's going to cut you off and go, huh? Yeah. So has it always been prime time? And then I'm supposed to look at the champ all cocky and be like, Rick, it's always been. And then I look back right in the camera and go, prime time, baby. and the look, because that night Rick was turning on me and going with Gabe Ramirez,
right,
and that group with Oliver John and John Anderson, AJ, all them. But like things like that, I would sit with Drake and we would just talk about the business so much, and it turned into we weren't just booking the wrestling show, we were booking the wrestling show from the camera aspect of it. Like I would be like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then Drake would listen to my booking. And as I'm writing down what's going to go on with this program or this show or this angle, Drake is writing down what we call impact words and impact moments. And so then we would come together and we would splice it all together. So he had this amazing idea of what to do, excuse me, guys, with the camera. And I had this amazing idea of what to do from the vision aspect as the booker promoter. And man, it was just a collaboration, man. I mean, we would just sit down and have the most amazing time. But like listening to Drake talk about, I would say something and he would be like, oh, but what if this angle happened here? What if I got, and what I mean by angle is like, what if I had this angle on the camera? What if we worked it over here? What if we brought this filming over here? So I started really seeing the art of the wrestling, how you do the wrestling as like a TV series or a fucking movie. And I learned a lot about build-up videos and the trailers through these guys, because I had no fucking clue what stock footage was. No clue. I had no clue what any of these things were. And they were going, all right, we're going to set you guys down. We're going to put some smoke right here. We're going to get in this area. We're going to light it. You just turn. I didn't know nothing about that. And then these guys just opened my mind up to like, oh, this is why WWE promo videos and match buildups are just insane. So, I mean, I owe a lot to Drake Nelson and Tom Bocci for just the experience I got sitting in empty barns with one light on me and some smoke machines and an LED moving around. Like before this thing even became cool to do this shit.
Yeah.
I was in these empty barns as the guinea pig.
Right.
Doing this stuff. So, I mean, Drake, man, you guys just always brought the heat to me. I'd be like, man, I'd always have these crazy ideas. And I'm sorry, I'll quit rambling for a minute, but I'd always have these crazy ideas. And Drake and Tom would be like, oh, we don't need all that. We don't need that.
Let's dial that back, bro.
Yeah, like we don't need all this. I just need you to walk this way for 5 seconds. And I'd be like, that's it. That's it. Yeah, turn around and blow a little bit of that steam, that little smoke machine smoke out of your mouth, man. Oh, great shot. And like an hour would go by and it'd be all these shots, and I'd be like, man, I think this is dumb what I'm doing. They'll be like, just trust me. Right. And then next thing I know, I watched the finished product and I was like, holy shit.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
You can do a lot with nothing.
You know what I mean? Like we would always and that goes back to going to film school is and then we at that point there was a transition. I don't know if you guys remember too much about the technology we were using, but there was a mix of like mini DV tapes, right? And then starting to get into like hard drives and shit, but mostly those mini DV tapes. But what I'm going at is it wasn't as expensive as film, but you could re-record and reuse the tape. So we would just shoot way more than we needed. And now, because like cameras have hard drives in them, and it's badass quality, just shoot as much as you can, figure it out in the editing. But it's hard to like translate that and make talent understand that, if that makes sense. So I'm sure there's more of a better connection now between wrestlers and production in the last 10 years. So it's, but at that point, yeah, we would be filming stuff or be prepping, producing, whatever. And a lot of the wrestlers have egos. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. So we'd be filming some of these guys and they would be like, what the fuck am I doing it like this? Why is the camera just right here in my face? And we would just have to be like, yo, bro, just chill, just talk. We're going to make you look fine. And I don't know if you guys I mean, I can't remember any time we ever put out a video on YouTube or made a DVD that wasn't dope, because we knew that like we didn't want to look like shit as a wrestler. So that's your reputation. So, and we knew that, I mean, if we have 20 wrestlers on a show, that's 20 egos that are going to be looking at the product. And if you're showing mistakes, you're showing a guy not selling right, or he looks like shit or whatever, they'll call you out on it. Like, yo, I fucked that move up. So we would figure out how to like hide mistakes and stuff too. So yeah, we knew how to like just take, sometimes we would just have shit matches too, bro. I mean, again, not every match goes to plan. And sometimes you guys got, you know, there's different levels of talent and experience. Maybe they don't like each other. Maybe they like each other too much, whatever. And they put out a shit match. Or there's 12 mistakes.
My favorite.
We'll take it. We'll fix it. You know what I mean?
My favorite, the shit match. So actually, what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, so me and Paul have been, you know, when this all came together, me and Paul have been sitting here just talking on the phone every night, and we had been sending each other all kinds of promos and stuff that we do. And I just wanted to get into a little bit, and I wanted to get Paul's take on it, because and your take, Drake. A lot of stuff that we're watching is, and I just can't understand why this is happening. I can, but I can't. And a lot of times you'll see somebody, we talk about the car promos, whatever. You're doing a promo from your fucking car. Who gives a shit, right? But the classic, yeah, who gives? But the classic to me is,
what is he, in a Chrysler? Who gives a shit?
They're getting the phone ready, and they're like, okay, play. Now I'm gonna do this promo. Or the classic action, or cut, or how about, oh, that was badass, bro. That was real. And then next thing you know, they play it, right? They put it online, and that's still in it. And you go, oh, these motherfuckers only took one fucking take, and they didn't even go into their little fucking crop editing thing and watch it one time and go, let's just drag this little crop fit button, or let's just drag it over here and cut it from 35 seconds to 31 seconds so we can't hear the cameraman go, dude, that was totally rocking, man. You guys fucking were hella believable.
Are these what the promos are on TV now?
Oh, well, no, not on TV. We're talking. I think we're talking more about
more
like the independent wrestling scene. But what's funny is that this really triggers this memory that I had from Adam, and he was you know, filming it in his car, and obviously it was a total spoof to kind of make fun of what's going on. But it was literally like, you know, he's talking, doing the promo, and he's like, and you can hear the AC in the back, and blah blah, you know, just going on and on. You know, and I'll see you at the show for the heavyweight title. You know, it's like, you know, you can see the headrest in the background and all this stuff like that. But you know, there was a lot of that just this coming week. You know, setting up for a show where, and I don't know if the company was like, hey,
they're okay. So I'm a little stoned. So I'm trying to wrap my head around. So these are independent promos.
Yeah.
For and people, that's what they're in their car.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, you know, there was a discussion a couple weeks back about, you know, who's the best promo in NorCal or something like that.
On the freeway promo. Who's
right.
got the
But
best
it's just like, you're
405
like,
promo?
right. Who's going to cut, people want to know who's the best promo, but it's like, we just talked about this with AJ as well. It's like, I think the best promo is who's talking people into the building to buy tickets, because that's the goal. Like, let's make money off of this, and cutting a promo in the trailer that you're working on at your shipping company, or in your car, or whatever it is
When
in
I
the
get done
storage
bagging
yard.
these groceries, motherfucker, I'm gonna meet you in
I'm stocking those
Marysville.
shelves.
We're allowed to curse on this podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
I had a kid. We talked about it before, but I'm going to bypass all the bullshit I saw on his Facebook. But he wanted people to congratulate him. He got a job at Target, and his profile was him with face paint and a belt, and it said he was a pro wrestler and he was wearing fucking spandex. So I hit him up and I said, "Hey man, maybe you shouldn't put that on there if you're trying, that you're working at the night stocking shelves at Target." And he said, "Well, it's my Facebook." So my last words to this guy, and I won't mention his name, but my last words to the guy was, "Well, what time do you work?" And I said, "Because I'm going to come into your work when you're stocking shelves. I'm going to grab one of those $20 steel folding chairs, and I'm going to set it down in the outside aisleway of the aisle you're stocking, and I'm going to just chant your name. I'm going to be like, go, 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 stock that shelf, stock that shelf." And then I'm going to put that online. I'm going to put that shit online, man. Yeah, it's just one of those things, one thing I remember, and maybe we can dial up some more production talk, but we got Drake on here, and there's one memory that I'll never forget. I'll never forget that I learned how to eat cup fulls. I thought he had milk in his cup one day when it was dry cereal, and he had a big cup of dry cereal, and that's where I learned, man, you drink your cereal dry is the best way to go. But I mean, speaking of the road, and we all know, one time me and Drake, and I know this is probably not something that, drinking and driving, but one time me and Drake, I picked him up in Chico, and we got each got an 18 pack of Budweiser. And we had learned this little trick where we grabbed a 32-ounce fountain drink, and we opened it up, and we stuck the open beer can in there, and then put the straw and the lid back on. And we had from a 45, 50-minute drive, we were almost to Marysville. And we had all these empty beer cans in the car. It was back in the day. And Brian Cage calls us. He's like, "Hey man, I just got in a wreck. I'm right here at Marysville High School. I gotta get down to Newark because I'm booked in BTW, man. Can you guys take me the rest of the way?" And me and Drake, of course, we're just fucking sloppy drunk. We were like, "Of course we can, Wolverine." And we pull in and we go, Drake looks over and he goes, "Oh, the wreck's over there." He's like, "Holy shit, there's 15 cop cars." So we pull into the school and we're just opening the door and kicking all these empty Budweiser cans out. So we pick Brian up and the cops finally, we're done. He gets in the car. I remember Brian got in the vehicle and had no clue that me and the cannibal were just fucking 18 deep out of a fountain drink foam cup. And he rode all the way to Newark. And I remember we got to BTW, and it's just the great times that we had out there on the road, man, was just one of those. Once I heard you were going to be on the show today, I was like, we got to tell the Brian Cage wreck.
You only told half that part too. So when we get to BTW, we're drinking beer out of straws. Steve, did he tell you this part? We're drinking these beers out of straws.
I was going to say, and I know how much more intoxicated you get as a result.
Yeah. So all that foam just sitting in your bellies. So we start, I don't know, I was puking. And then we had to get through the show and then drive all the way back 4 hours away. It was not a smart thing to do, but that's one out of 50 times that we got crazy on the road.
So I have a question too, and I'm gonna let Paul take this one over because it's been something that Paul's been working with production. So Paul's been looking for the production up there, and I just wonder if, and I'll let Paul ask it to you, but if you can clarify some of the pricing on what you would think in an offering from a production crew standpoint. So there's some camera guys, and they film for some other promotions, and quite a few promotions in town, but they had hit Paul up and said, hey, we're going to give you we're in town, we're going to give you the old half price discount on the show. And I think it was something like $350. And Paul said, well, is the editing involved in that too? And I'm going to let Paul take that over from here right now about this.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's one of those things, like, so if you are filming the show, obviously in your guys' case, you guys were going to film the show, you guys were going to edit it, and make it look, dialed in and ready to send out, right? So, I guess it just blew my mind that it was like, oh, well, this is how much it's going to cost just to film the show, to give you the footage, right? And I'm thinking, well, I can set up a camera myself, and I don't need you to come and film the show. I want a edited product, and and my concern is, like, if I'm going to pay money to get a production, show filmed, it edited, I want you to explain to me how you think I'm going to make money on it. How am I going to monetize the money that I'm spending to have this stuff done? And unfortunately, it was, the guy couldn't tell me. It's like, oh, well, normally we just get the footage to the people and they figure it out. And I was like, but don't you think a better selling tool, if you're going to offer a product to someone, is to be able to verbally tell them, this is how I would use this product that I'm offering you. This is how you could make money off of it. That's why you should be able to justify paying me to do this. So so back in the day, it was with the territory stuff. Hey, we're going to put this stuff together. Obviously you did it for free at the beginning, right? Because you wanted to show, hey, this is what I can do for you. This is how badass it's going to look. And this is how you can make money by doing this, right? This great, stuff is going to bring in people that want to work for you. And maybe they'll work for you for cheaper because they know they're going to get a badass video, package out of the deal, whether it's, promo photos, match graphics, the stock footage, the actual match edited, ready to go, that you can send off to another promotion, to get booked. I know you guys could verbalize that, and you guys could give a great explanation. Hey man, you're going to pay me $1,000, but this is what's going to come of it. You're going to have, promo photos. You're going to have stock footage. You're going to have, promos that you can send out. At the time it was WWE wants a minute promo. You're going to have that. They want a 5-minute match or 7-minute match. You're going to have that. You're going to have a whole package you can send out to try to get hired at a company. So talk about how, you go about doing that. Obviously you trained yourself, or through Butte College, you learned not only how to do the 3-camera shoot, but how to edit the stuff together, how to make it look good. Like, talk about how you could go about doing that, like from a production side. You have those skills already. How can you present your product to someone, and let them know why it's worthwhile to spend this money on paying for this product?
Yeah,
I think in that guy's case, he came at pro wrestling like it's any other business that a videographer or photographer would do. So like weddings, commercials, other shit that's not traditional filmmaking. So Bocce and I did the territory out of love because we both we almost like made, you know, my decision to not pursue being a physical wrestler was kind of made for me when I destroyed my ankle. Um, I think Tom had some injuries too, so we both just like love the business and wanted. We were in our mid-20s, coming out of like a great era for wrestling. So I mean, coming out of the '90s, coming the early 2000s, I think, um, and the '90s were some of the best eras for pro wrestling. So like we were just super fans, and our physical careers were cut short so early, but we were still so hungry, and we both, you know, knew a lot about the business from being smart fans. So um, make a long story short, I think the go between professional wrestling and a production company is always going to be like a huge divide, right? So we were just fortunate that we love the business. We knew about the business because we were smart marks and fans and workers ourselves. Um, uh, and we understood that like there's no money in independent pro wrestling. So you can either go and film for free and put in practice and, you know, make some, try and make some money, and then you know, and I became so friendly with all the boys that like it would have been such a kick for me to like, and I made a bunch of promo videos and audition tapes for the guys over the years that they submitted to MTV and WWE, and I was just trying to put my buddies over, you know what I mean? So the having the mentality of a wrestler is kind of why Bocce and I worked. Now in today's world, you know, these people, it's either they have a production company with some cell phones, right? Which is some high school kids that they'll churn out a good product, right? Because even these freaking cell phones are like more powerful than the video cameras that we were using. So it's either you've got wrestling students or wrestling fans with their cell phones, and they will put out a product now that you can throw on YouTube and it's going to be watchable, or it's a production company with $50,000 worth of equipment, and you know they're you know they're salespeople, and you know they know that they're going to have to contact certain industries and try and get gigs. But if they're not, you know, my thing is if they haven't taken any bumps or been in the ring and went to booking meetings, they're not really going to understand the business and how to shoot the business and edit it. You know what I mean? And I mean, every WWE cameraman was probably a fan a little bit, but he had to learn that. You know, I would imagine that even with their fancy college degrees and stuff, that, and they have a production crew of maybe 200 people, right? Um, they had to learn the WWE way to produce a product. You know what I mean? So, you know, there's such a wrestling's unlike any other sport. It's hard. It's hard to learn to produce wrestling. You know, so yeah, that's why like I was confident when Zach put me to the test with his production team, and that's exactly. I would imagine it's part because here's the thing. Uh, when I watch independent pro wrestling, it doesn't blow me away. The production company, Zach stuff right now, is the closest thing where I'm like, all right, those guys know a little bit. They you know they have a great. I can see the difference between what Zach's putting out with PCW and every other clip that I see. So long drawn answer again. I'm sorry,
Right,
but
but you know what's funny is you
nobody could
said
hold a
you
candle to Drake and Tom, bro, when it came to like putting out a fucking wrestling product that wasn't. Because here's the thing, not to put myself over again, but like people would call me and be like, "Yo, I saw this camera angle on Raw last night," and I'd be like, you know, I don't want to say they were ripping off the territory, but they weren't doing that camera shot last week because I watched fucking product last week, and now they are. You know,
right.
so.
I was gonna say, Zach, you don't know this, but we just talked to AJ about this last week. But Drake was the person that put my my submission tape together for Tough Enough, and I feel like just the way that I felt it was like pretty bland. Like I recorded this interview and gave him some stuff. Hey, broke the backboard in this situation and blah blah blah, and then he sends it to me, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, this is like I might get picked because of this video. It has nothing to do with with me, but this badass promo video that Drake put together for me. I was like, I'm sure that people are looking at it and going, "Wow, this guy put some serious effort into this." Which I can take no credit for, right? I go, "Hey, Drake, here's the stuff that I recorded and I sent to you," and then he put it together. But I guess kind of what I'm gathering from the answer is, paying a whole lot of money for a production company or whatever at the independent wrestling level is probably a waste of your money, because you got to assume that people just, and I fell victim to this when we first started. Remember when we were in the grocery store and we were filming, and I was just like, "Oh, well, we're gonna take this product that we're gonna put together and we're gonna put it on the cable channel," right? And it was very much an ego thing for me, because I was like, you want to be able to go, "Hey, man, we're on television, we're on the cable station at this time on this day, and we're getting seen by this many people, right? Hundreds of thousands, or this many countries, or whatever. Yeah. Hey, come over here and jerk me off. Tell me how good I am, right?" So that's exactly right. So, and I think unfortunately that's kind of what it is. You're paying for this product to, say you're on TV, and I know that that's how it was with public access, right? But at the same time, I mean, there's definitely some benefit to that, because other people are also going to have that same type of ego where they're like, "Hey, yeah, I want to be on TV, so I'll come and work for this company that maybe isn't the standard that I would normally work for, because they've got some sort of television production. They're going to be on TV, things like that." Zach, it looks like you're ready to spew something out right now. I'm not sure. Looks like you got something to say.
It's passion, man. It's drive. It's edgy, man. We're edgy. Like, I don't know how to hit a fucking button. I don't know how to edit, but I've spent so many hours with laptops in front of me and multiple TVs, and I couldn't produce shit if I had to, because I couldn't hit a fucking button. You want to draw, you want to Photoshop me going drinking a beer and put a dick in my mouth? If I get the opportunity to Photoshop you back, I'm using the paintbrush thing, and I'm drawing a little fucking yellow one. You know what I mean? But I can direct, man. I can take all this footage that I've put together and had these guys film, and I can sit there and I can go, make it black and white. Stop right here. Speed it up. Throw a transition in here. No, I don't like this. I can tell you a story through the video production aspect of it. And the problem nowadays is everybody wants everybody else to do the work of the production. Nah, man, you're the promoter. You're the visionary. This is your vision. If you're not willing to lay this stuff out and sit down and tell people what you want, you have to tell people what you want. And you have to not be afraid to say no. Yeah, I'm going to listen to Drake. I'm going to listen to whoever when they tell me, no, we can't do that, from a hitting the button standpoint. But I also know we can do what I want to do, because today's wrestler, and I want to give a shout out to Doc Haywood, because Drake, what you said, and Paul, what you said, it's 100% right. Doc Haywood sits at that house and logs in the toughest job that you can. He mixes that sound and puts this hour-long show together now for 3 years, week after week after week after week. And he does it for the love of the game, man.
I can tell.
He does it for the love of the game.
I can definitely tell.
Yeah, he puts all that effort in. And
I want to interrupt you real quick, Zach. I want to tell this story real quick about Doc when I came out for Bradley Rotten's show. I forget the gimmick that was happening at the show, but it was a couple of the guys were going to fight to the outside, and they were going to follow them out with the camera, and one of them drives off. Schizo involved. I can't remember the specifics, but Doc pulls me aside, and he was like, Drake, I know you haven't really shot wrestling in a long time, but how would you shoot this? And I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. Let me ballpark this. And it was easy. It was an easy thing. But I just thought that was super cool that he showed me that respect of like, hey, I don't know if he took my advice on how to shoot it, but I just thought that was super cool because going back to the love, I can see that he does love it. Yeah. I can, because I see the edits and the graphics and stuff, and I'm familiar with what he's doing, sitting at a computer and mapping shit out, and then he does a great job, like as an entertainer as well. Like that's a great combination. That's an important guy to have in a wrestling organization, is somebody who is an entertainer and wants to still entertain and knows how to. Because entertaining in professional wrestling is different than everything else, right? He can, that dude's like a very important asset to have in a wrestling company. That's a fucking captain, right there.
He's the most.
So shout out, bro.
He's the most important aspect.
Yeah.
Good editors that give a shit about the product, and it's like you're saying right there. You were like, he asked me how we're gonna drive this, where the drive scenes. Yeah, he asked you where the drive scene's going to go and asked your advice. Here's the problem with wrestling, one of two. One, these guys wrestling in the ring, we talk about it all the time. A, they don't have no clue how to listen and engage with that ear for the audience, right? This fucking little button's going on here. They don't know how to listen and work to the audience, but there's also cameras there too. It's like, okay, you just hit a big move. The fucking camera guy's right over here. Like I was wrestling a Dickie Dakin at the last show, and one of these last shows, and I knew I was about to take off with him. I had just finally pulled the trigger on the baby, and I had unloaded with the punch. I drug him around the ring and turned him not only to his family, but to the camera guy right there. Gave him that camera, and then gave his family that look, and then went. And then started laying into him. Like, we are wrestling. The point of us doing this is to do this for the audience and to do this for the camera. There's no other purpose to this. If there's no cameras, if there's no audience, you're a stand-up comedian, man. Would you be like, man, there's no such thing as TV. There's no such thing as YouTube. And there's no such thing as a live audience. So I'm going to go do stand-up comedy for myself. That would not.
That's just weird. If there's no,
that's weird. That's not fulfilling.
In the bathroom telling jokes to himself. No, the easiest way I've ever been able to explain to the boys, kind of what the camera is the camera represents an extra 1 million eyeballs. Just think about that. So if people have that mentality, I think it improves matches too. Like I remember when I would film, and sometimes there would be 30 people in the crowd on a Sunday, right? But the moment the guys would see the cameras, they'd be like, "Oh shit," Vince McMahon might see this tape. You know what I mean? Or you just never know what can happen. And now in 2024, shit can go viral too. I'm not sure what Joey Ryan's relationship is to the business anymore, but I think he went viral for like the dick thing, right?
Yeah.
So like you just never know what little thing can happen on camera, and now you're the next Hawk Tua girl, so it's like the cameras are very important, is what I'm trying to say. Find them cameras, man. That's 1 million extra eyeballs watching this shit.
Buy a couple extra phones and give Drake Nelson a call. I'm just saying though, it's so vital, like cameras and the audience. That's why we do this. So it's just so strange to me why we see so many matches and we see so many promos just thrown out there. Like, who gives a shit? Someone's like, hey, go film a fucking promo for me and post it online to promote the event. Well, dude, you could be promoting dog shit, which most of it is dog shit because you didn't even stop and watch it back. Like, if you would have stopped and watched it back, you would have saw that you actually, your mom called you during the thing, or your mom was like, drink meatloaf, and I just can't understand why someone would not watch something back, and they would go, oh shit, let me film that again. Like, you should film this shit as many times as you need to film this, and the live stuff is like, brother, this is live entertainment. We don't have the privilege we don't have the privilege to go, stop, cut. We got to go. We're giving them a live product. We got less than 5 minutes left. We might squeeze a couple more out, but Drake, I want to have you on for many more topics. Paul, do you got anything else on the agenda here? We've been rambling.
Right. Yeah. I think it's very eye-opening to hopefully for not only people that are in the production aspect of the business, but also for guys that are working in the business to understand some of the things that Drake was talking about finding the camera, finding a different way to film it. And I guess something that it really clicked in my mind when you guys were talking about Doc Haywood was sitting at the table with him doing commentary, and he's throwing the comments to things that he knew he filmed earlier in that day, production wise, right? Hey, we've got this promo that we filmed earlier, and that's going to be perfect at this point in this match where I can go, all right, hey, let's throw it to backstage to such and such with the whatever, talking to this guy, and just having all that stuff mapped out, understanding how the show's going to go. And we did that. Like, we used to go to Portland, Oregon, and they would film, 4 episodes of TV on a Saturday, and they would have this whole run sheet of all the promos that you needed to do and where it was going to be on each episode of the TV, and just how important that is. And I think sometimes that's overlooked because, a lot of the stuff I see, it might be a guy doing an interview, but the commentary isn't talking about it at all. And we talked about that in a couple of different, when we did the match critique and things like that, about how the wrestlers stopped for a second to allow the commentary team to put over what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you're watching it, that's something that I think people rely on, is that they can have a good understanding of what's going on and the storytelling. If this is the first time that they're watching this product, this is a way for you to hook them in and get them to come back and watch it. So, I think all of those things are important from both the worker standpoint and the production standpoint, to understand that, those little nuances are super important, and they might help, get a wrestler over or get someone to come back and watch your product at a different time. So that's kind of my...
Yeah, I think real quick, I think a great way to bring like a wrestling social media production relationship together is wrestlers should learn how to shoot a match and edit a match at a computer, right? And then people who are referees, production people, should actually take some bumps or get in the ring and learn how to move around, learn why you do certain things, or at least stand in the ring while somebody like Zach is coaching, you know what I mean? So that they can kind of process, footing and spacing and stuff like that. So that there should, soon as you bring that together is when companies can put out some excellent stuff.
Well, you guys, Doc, Tom, I want to give a shout out to Buck and Brandon Johnson and Chris Plymaser and anybody who's held a camera. Lady Haywood, These guys, Doc is the master of we're going to a commercial break. Doc is the master of that's all the time we have this week on match number 2 because he knows it's going to be the main event. I know Paul, I know Drake, we all know, and wrestlers out there know APW used to charge $1,200 to $1,500 for a good promotional package to put out. These guys are giving you a signature video. They're giving you commentary. They're giving you quality edits. They're giving you stock footage. They're giving you interviews and promos. They're giving you all this stuff that maybe is more valuable than a $50 to $100 payout you could get because your match is going up a week later with all this. There's nothing more I can say about the guys like you and Tom and Doc and Buck and everybody that does this. We've just hit 1 hour. So I'm going to, if they don't know, then now they're going to know. Drake Nelson is a stand-up comedian. I spent a lot of time in cars with him, and he's probably heard this one before. So I'm going to outro with a little joke, and then I'm going to feed it to you for a joke, and then we'll go home. So for you out there in YouTube land, I'm going to need you to bend over. I'm going to need you to put your palms on the ground and spell run. And for those out there who don't know, that's R-U-N, right? R-U-N while you're bent over. Now you've heard that one before, so I'm going to need you to stay bent over for me for just a little bit longer, and I'm going to need you to spell run backwards. That's right. N-U-R. R-U-N, N-U-R. Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrecking Ball, Paul Isadora, Drake Nelson, would you please close us out? Just give it where are you going to be at and give us a little joke.
I got a show in Ashland, Oregon for all you Oregonians out there next Thursday on the 16th, I think. 19th, I can't remember. But yeah, check my socials. Ashland, Oregon on a Thursday. And Drake Comic the movie is coming out Christmas Day, 8 p.m. on my Twitch channel, Twitch TV/Drake Comic. It's my first full-length feature film, and it stars some wrestlers and some comedians and some prostitutes, and that's a different episode. Yeah, check out my movie on Christmas Day, 8 p.m. on Twitch.
Quick question. Is James Haight in the movie?
James Haight is in the movie. TOL, the original legend, is in Drake Comic the movie.
Paul, anything in closing we got for Drake, or are we sending this one off?
We're sending this one off, man. And like always, let's see if I can get my finger in the right spot. Check out the other episodes right up here, right in this little spot.
And if you want to subscribe at Going Over Pod and you want to watch, like, listen, subscribe right down here at the bottom of the video. And all those hands are going lower. Drake, damn, that's what I'm talking about. Because we're pro wrestlers. We work out and we got muscles. And when we sit on this screen and we're done with the egotistical, maniacal mastery that we do, Drake Nelson, thank you so much. We're definitely getting you back on this show. Paul, it's been a long day. And at the end of the day, we have to remember just one thing. We're going over.